You might be wondering why I took everything apart like this and took the wheel off. There is actually a cool video of this Wrangler girl taking out the battery without removing the wheel. The reason why I removed the wheel is because I'm in the process of changing my fender flares from this European version to the US version so that it goes higher up and I can put bigger tires. But I'll make a brand new video for that. If you're interested in how to remove the fender flares and put the other ones on, check my videos. Okay, this is a 200 amp 13 amp hour start-stop aux battery, and as you can see by my hand, this is like a motorcycle battery which is located in this box underneath your fender, and it typically sets up in here. Okay, and as you can see here, there are two wires that go to the plus terminal and there is one for the minus. And the minus terminal, as you can see, is already taped here, was located on this point here. Now, what I did first, initially, I removed the ground and I pulled the fuse F42. That's a 10 amp fuse. Because if you don't pull it and you remove the negative wire, you won't be able to start the vehicle because it thinks that the start-stop battery is intact. Removing this F42 basically tells the system that everything is fine, even though the minus is disconnected, the ground wire is disconnected. In my case, I use the Taser Mini, which is located under here. Here are the brake pedals. The Taser Mini I use for several reasons. First of all, if you push the start-stop button off inside of the dash of your Jeep, with the Taser it will stay off. So once you turn off your vehicle and start it again, it's still off. Because factory setting is you turn the engine off, and once you start again, the start-stop system is enabled again. And with this second battery removed, now the start-stop cycle, if you would turn it on, would just go through the main battery and not this little stupid battery. But I recommend anyway to turn the start-stop off because it's not saving any fuel, it's not saving the environment. That's my opinion. Everybody can have his opinion, but that's mine. So because I'm never gonna use this again, I basically took these clamps off. Okay, the last step is to remove the fuse box with these clips, and you have to remove all of these. Make sure to put stickers on it so you remember the numbers. There are actually little numbers on the plugs themselves, and yeah, and these guys hold in the connector that go to the fuse. Just a quick tip: when you have loosened these bolts, you have to wiggle the plugs out underneath the fuses. Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, but it's not really a biggie. Okay guys, it's gonna get a bit technical here. Please leave your comments if you have a different opinion. I'm also really happy to learn new things. So here we go. My vehicle has been modified, which means what I'm explaining here applies to your vehicle, of course, but mine looks a bit different. Okay. The auxiliary battery that has been installed in these vehicles because of the start-stop function is, like I showed in the video, located under here. it sits underneath the fuse box. And what happens, or how this works, is there is a wire going from the plus terminal of the main battery to the auxiliary battery. And because they are connected together, the wire that goes into that battery and coming out, they are constantly in direct connection, which means if one of them starts to go bad, it will suck the energy out of the other one. In my case, the auxiliary battery went bad and started to drain my main battery, and I couldn't understand why I kept losing energy until I started to measure what it was that was sucking my battery dry. It was the auxiliary battery. I thought it was some kind of equipment that went bad, but no, it was the aux battery. So, again, from the plus going to the aux battery, and from the aux battery going into the fuse box, plug number 1. And the plug number 1 is going to through the fuse down to the starter, and that's why it is supporting the start-stop function with a second battery. But since I removed the ground completely, I just took it out and I cut the plus wires at the auxiliary battery, it leaves the car completely without any electricity. I can't start it and nothing. So I will have to connect the number 1 directly to the battery. Now, since I don't have these special clamps that are in this fuse box, I just bought a 25 millimeter tube where you connect the wire that originally went to the aux battery and the plug from seat number 1, so that it has constant power from my main battery. And of course, removing this start-stop battery completely. I showed you with the taser how you disable the function that it keeps on turning it on, which is a good thing. But last but not least, I want to show you how I'm set up. I have a 120 amp hour Caravan AGM battery, a deep cycle battery, because I'm using all this electricity and electrical stuff. I use an MPPT 100, which is a 30 amp solar charge controller, and on the roof I have installed 2 100 watt solar panels, which means I can charge my battery with my car, but when it stands in the sun, that's why it has the color of the sun, it charges my battery system. I hope this helps. Put some comment, please, if you have another opinion or solve this differently. And thank you for watching my videos.